United States Civil War. Subscribe, Universal Tutor. The U.S. Civil War, also known as the American Civil War, was a significant conflict that occurred from 1861 to 1865 between the northern states, known as the Union, and the southern states, known as the Confederacy. The war was primarily fought over issues related to slavery, states' rights, and the preservation of the Union. Here's an overview of the key aspects of the Civil War. Causes. Slavery. The fundamental and most contentious issue was slavery. The southern states relied heavily on slave labor for their agrarian economy, while many northern states had abolished slavery or were moving towards abolition. States' rights versus federal authority. The southern states argued for greater states' rights and autonomy, asserting that they had the right to secede from the Union if they felt their interests were not being upheld. The Union, however, believed in a strong federal government and opposed the idea of secession. Economic and social differences. The North was more industrialized, with a diverse economy, while the South was agrarian and heavily reliant on cotton production. These economic differences contributed to the broader divide between the regions. Key events. 1860 presidential election. The election of Abraham Lincoln, who opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories, led to southern states beginning to secede from the Union, fearing that their interests would be threatened. Attack on Fort Sumter. The first shots of the Civil War were fired in April 1861 when Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter, a federal outpost in Charleston, South Carolina. Military campaigns. The war saw a series of battles and campaigns that took place on various fronts. Some notable battles include the First Battle of Bull Run, Antietam, Gettysburg, and the Siege of Vicksburg. Emancipation Proclamation. In 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared all slaves in Confederate territory to be free. This shifted the focus of the war to include the goal of ending slavery. Gettysburg Address. In November 1863, President Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, emphasizing the principles of equality and democracy, and the importance of preserving the Union. 1864 presidential election. Lincoln was re-elected, signifying public support for the Union's efforts to preserve the nation. Surrender at Appomattox. The war neared its end in 1865 when General Robert E. Lee of the Confederacy surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant of the Union at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. Consequences. Abolition of slavery. The Civil War culminated in the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1865, which abolished slavery throughout the country. Preservation of the Union. The Union was preserved, reaffirming the principle that states could not secede from the United States. Casualties and devastation. The war resulted in a staggering loss of life on both sides, with estimates of over 600,000 soldiers and countless civilians killed. It also caused immense destruction to infrastructure and property. Reconstruction. After the war, the process of reconstruction aimed to rebuild the southern states, integrate formerly enslaved individuals into society, and address the social and political changes brought about by the war. The U.S. Civil War remains a pivotal event in American history, shaping the nation's identity, politics, and social fabric for years to come. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.